Shalom Chavarim, I'm back again doing a little study on the Mishneh Torah, Sefer Zemanim, Volume 1, Hilchos Shabbat. And I just want to talk about Shabbat. Can one go to war on Shabbat? And this is in chapter 2, Pasuk Chaf Gimel, verse 23. And it says, Ovdei Chochavim umatzalos shetzaru al Yeros Israel im ba'u al iske mamon. The following rules apply when Gentiles lay siege to Jewish cities. If their intent was financial gain, the Shabbat laws should not be violated because of them, nor are we allowed to wage war against them. If a city is located near the border, however, we should march against them with weapons and wage war against them, even when they are demanding hay or straw. And in the footnotes here, it says, since their intent is only financial, the Shabbat laws may not be violated for this reason. But, however, Shulchan Aruch and the Mishnah Berurah actually say which state that at present, even when Gentiles initially come only for pillage and plunder, since they have no compunctions about killing Jews, they really don't care. Our lives could be in danger, particularly if one will defend his property. Any Gentile raid on Jewish community is considered a question of life and death, warranting the violation of the Shabbat laws. And it continues, in any location, if the Gentiles' intent was to harm Jewish lives, or if they engaged in battle with a city or laid siege to it without stating a specific intention, we must wage war against them and the Shabbat laws. And the Shabbat laws should be violated because of them. It's a mitzvah for every member of the Jewish people who can come to their assistance to go out and aid their brethren who were under siege and save them from the Gentiles. Although it is the Shabbat, it is forbidden to delay until Saturday night. After they have saved their brethren, they may return home with their weapons on the Shabbat, so that a dangerous situation will not be created in the future. We can even return with our weapons on their way home, but normally the circumstances of carrying on Shabbat are not allowed. But the Rambam says we can even carry our weapons home in case they come back or plan to sabotage or ambush us. And it even says in the footnotes again, it says, Vayikra 19:16, Leviticus 19:16 says, do not stand by idly while your neighbor's life is in danger. We must even go out and help, even if we have to break the Shabbat. And it is told that in the Maccabean revolt, that the Greeks once attacked the Jews on the Shabbat. The people were unaware of this law and refused to take up arms in defense, and thousands died. Afterwards, the rabbis publicized this ruling. And it continues also in the footnotes. It says here in Reuven 45a, relates that originally it was forbidden for the people to return with their weapons, and they would leave them in a home within the city's walls. Once the enemy forces saw that the Jews were turning unarmed, they attacked them. More Jews were killed in the confused scramble for their weapons than by the enemy attack. After this event, the sages allowed those who come to assistance a besieged city to return with their weapons. And it continues, similarly, if a ship is sinking at sea or a city is surrounded by a flooding river, it's a mitzvah to go out on the Shabbat and use every possible means to save them. Even when a single individual is being pursued by Gentiles, by a snake, or by a bear, with the intent to kill him. It's a mitzvah to save him, even when it is necessary to perform several forbidden labors on the Shabbat. It is even permitted to forge weapons to save him. Similarly, we should cry out to God on behalf of Jews in danger, make supplications and sound the trumpets to summon help for them. And you see, halakhic ruling even says it's forbidden to blow a shofar on Shabbat, to play musical instruments in Shabbat, not because we can't play instruments. It's because, well, with the blowing of the shofar, it's rabbinical ruling of what's called makeh bapatish, the final blow, a hit with the hammer. And this is what the halakha says here. It says here that playing an instrument is prohibited to play music instruments on Shabbos and on Yom Tov. Producing any type of sound, even sounds that are not musical or rhythmical, it's forbidden from a music instrument. The reason is follows. Musical instruments are often fragile and liable to break while being used. It's not so much because of the music. It's because, let's say you're playing a guitar and the string breaks. The rabbis are afraid you're going to repair it, which is a malacha. You're doing work. And this is forbidden. Although there's people that say, well, they played in the temple. Yes, they played in the temple. There was a different ruling for the Kohanim in the temple. These were Zaddiks. They were more learned with the halakha. They were more careful, and they knew what they were doing. And so this is the rulings, and it says one who is engrossed in a musical composition, when the instrument suddenly breaks or snaps, is likely to forget himself and repair the instrument before realizing what he's doing. Repairing the instrument is the malacha of makeh bapatish, and musical instruments are therefore a muksa and may not be handled on Shabbos. What is a muksa? Muksa is things that we don't actually have any use for on Shabbos. Example, a TV remote, where a muksa means it's forbidden to move around because we may be tempted to turn on the TV, and this is not keeping the holiness of Shabbat. That's what a muksa is. And so the rabbis say, yes, we can go to war on Shabbos. We can go to war. We can even break thousands of Shabbats, because life precedes Shabbat. And it says that we are to live by the mitzvot, not die by them. It says we should not cry out to God or make supplications because of a plague on the Shabbos, because everything is in Hashem's hands, and no plague comes near our dwelling. And it says in verse 25, we should lay siege to the Gentile cities. At least 3 days before the Shabbat, we may wage war with them on any day, even on the Shabbat, until we conquer the city, even if the war is voluntary in nature. The oral tradition, Torah Shabbat Pei, interprets Deuteronomy 20:20, until you have subjugated it, as the teaching that one should wage war even on Shabbat. Surely the above applies with regard to war that we are obligated to wage. Indeed, it was on the Shabbat that Joshua conquered Jericho. And at 104, let's see here. And so we can even initiate war if we feel our life in danger. And so we can break many Shabbats until we have won the war, because our life matters. And so some people may not know this, some people may know this. I found this interesting and just wanted to share this part of the Rambam with everybody. Hope you enjoy. This is Halakha. Baruch Hashem. Have a good week. Shavua Tov.